Well, hello. I was going to say, and what did I do? I thought about you. I was thinking whether or not you were going to come. Anyway, I finally made it here on Alternative Venues for Jazz, which is a great site and webpage. So if you have not already joined, I encourage you to join it. As you probably know, or you wouldn't even be here, my name is Eve Cornelious, and I have been singing for a while now. I started singing when I was about 3 years old, that I remember anyway. I was probably singing before then, even, but I remember. Uh, Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here. Yeah. Um, but I remember definitely at 3 when I started singing. I started humming stuff, hearing my mom sing. And it's strange about my mom. She would only sing in the kitchen while she was cooking. I never heard her sing anywhere else, only in the kitchen, early in the mornings, sometimes in the evenings. And that's how I started singing as well. If you read any of that information I have that was so long, you probably didn't read it. But I was a little discouraged growing up because mainly my brothers would tease me and tell me that I can't sing as a little girl. So you know how insecure you are then. Um, and But I kept doing it anyway. I didn't care if he told me that or not. He was my big brother. Um, I started listening to a lot of music, of course, when I was little. My mom and other stuff she would listen to. And my mom had this very fast vibrato, like, and as I got older, I realized that was the sound of, the older singers like Bessie Smith and Ma Rainey and all of them had that fast vibrato sound. And she did that. I guess that was her people, but she never had recordings of them. Um, she was I grew up listening to R&B actually. We didn't have a lot of jazz in our house. My mom even liked R&B, the old bluesy stuff. Uh, and Yeah, everybody wanted to be Diana Ross growing up. You might say my hair kind of look like Diana Ross right now. You might think, but anyway, everybody wanted to do that R&B, Gladys Knight and the Pips, all those kind of people. That's who we listened to, and they were great to me. Hi, Facebook user. I don't know who you are, but hello. I'm glad you came. And anyway, my first experience with jazz music was from my two brothers. They were like 7 and 9 years older than me, so they were more into music than I was. They were listening to people like Charles Earland and McCoy Tyner and Stanley Turrentine, Herbie Hancock. They like the more funky kind of a jazz sort of style than the hey Ben, than the straight ahead type of stuff. But anyway, I was exposed to and I was also exposed to Nancy Wilson. That's the one of the first. I think she was the first jazz singer who I really liked, Nancy Wilson, as a little girl. Because I didn't even hear Billie Holiday, and um, I think I saw them on TV, and Sarah Vaughan and Ella Fitzgerald. Going back when TV was black and white, maybe on the Ed Sullivan Show, on those shows. But anyway, that's who I saw singing, but I wasn't really paying any attention to it. I think I was too young to pay attention, but I did see them because they were black. So if you were black on TV, we wanted to see you no matter who you were. And yes, my first jazz album that I actually bought, I believe it was a Nancy Wilson. And I know Nancy Wilson sort of straddles the fence, bit like me, you might say. She does all kinds of. She used to do all kinds of styles. Well, not all kinds of style, but she would take a lot of different songs, no matter what genre they were, and she would sing them the way she sang them. So she, I hate to say it, but the easiest way to say it would be she jazzed it up. Like uh if I ever lose this heaven, for instance, that song, do you remember it? If I ever lose this heaven, if I ever lose this heaven. Anyway, Nancy does. She kills it. But anyway, I think her album, we didn't have any CDs back then, was the first one that I bought. You remember that by Nancy Wilson? Yeah. And then who, I can't remember who actually did it first. Anyway, Nancy Wilson with remember Face It Girl? Oh my God. First time I heard Face It Girl, when you look into his eyes and he turns away. I don't think I was old enough to be in love with anybody then or not, but I kind of understood what she was talking about. Anytime you're looking at somebody and they're turning away. Anyway, I learned that song. And that's actually, I believe, how I learned how to sing, by copying a lot of singers. Nobody back then was teaching you jazz. Um, in fact, the first time I ever even heard of anybody talking about jazz education was, it was I think it was early 80s when I went to this forum they had in Atlanta, Georgia. And they Yusef Salim and I went. Remember Yusef Salim? Yusef and I went down there, and we used to be buddies, hanging out, going everywhere. Yusef Salim from Baltimore. He used to call it Baltimore Ron. But he was from Baltimore, but he moved to Durham, North Carolina. And I moved to Raleigh first from Newport News, Virginia, but I was born in Newark, New Jersey. I have a complicated story, don't I? But anyway, I lived in Newport News. I grew up in Newport News, Virginia. Then I moved to Richmond, Virginia first. Then I moved to Durham, North Carolina, where I met a gentleman by the name of Elmer Gibson and Peter Ingram on drums. And he told me about Yusef Salim. And I went over to Durham, North Carolina and met Yusef Salim. And man, oh man, that was one of the best things I ever did in my life. He just took me in and just taught me how to do so much, and would sing and not sing, but play for me, whatever I wanted to sing. I was learning a lot, and he was there to support me. But back to the song, that album that I really liked was Face It Girl. Then I also heard Guess Who I Saw Today. Guess who I saw today? Guess who I saw today, my dear? You know, Nancy Wilson again. I think she was my favorite for a long time before I ever got into the other people. Actually, when I moved to Durham, North Carolina, is when I really started getting deep into jazz. That's when I started really listening to Billie Holiday and Sarah Vaughan, and I mean, really listening, studying Ella Fitzgerald and Shirley Horn and Joe Williams and um, I mean, so many people. Johnny Hartman, Billy Eckstein. I'm trying to remember. It's hard to remember because I didn't write notes. I said I'm just going to try to wing it. And yeah, those were my early studying kind of albums that I listened to, and I still listen to today. I mean, you can never get enough of them. And my current projects, I'm working on, well, actually, I'm going to Russia tomorrow. I like Russia, and they like me. I'm performing with Leonid Vinskevich, Nick Vinskevich, Steve Kershaw, Vartan Barbian, and Probably some more people, but those are the main people. That's the main group. Vinskevich, Kershaw group. Yes. And myself. And we jam. I was there a little while ago and we were killing. Before I went there, I was in Spain playing with uh, Telmo Fernandez and Brian Charette and Jason Brown. And we had a good time as well. I hope to go back there. I hadn't been to Spain in a long time, for years. I hadn't been to Spain since I played with Roy Hargrove. Now that was a long time ago. If you have any questions, go on and ask me while I continue talking. I can see little things popping up here on the side, comments or whatever. So if you have any questions to ask me, you know. And by the way, I'm dedicating this particular segment to my son, Tony Cornelious. Tony Cornelious. I love him so much. But oh yeah, I see it says some advice you received from an older musician. Well, this is funny. I really haven't. A lot of musicians haven't really given me a lot of advice. I don't know why. I do take advice. You know, I love advice. Tell me stuff. I don't know everything. But I was talking to Joe Williams. I had a chance to perform with Joe Williams and John Hendricks and Diane Reeves at the what's the jazz festival in California? Is it Monterey Jazz Festival in California? Had a chance to do John Hendricks. It's a play he does. It's a musical. I can't remember the name. I'm so sorry. Yes, the Monterey Jazz Festival. That's it. We did that. I was sort of like a background type of a person, you know, because Diane Reeves was there, you know. She's going to get the main thing. But I got a few good tunes in, a couple of gospel tunes, along with and with the, for myself and with the choir. And anyway, I had a chance to Joe. Then I had a chance to see Joe Williams again in D.C. And we were sitting up there together. And he says, Eve. I said, what? He said, "You want to hear something?" I said, "Yeah," because he was always telling jokes, you know, joking around. He said, "Let me tell you something. This is some advice for you. After you reach the age of 60, never trust a fart." Isn't that terrible? He told me that. Of course, I bust out laughing. That was the only advice he gave me. He didn't tell me anything about my singing or anything like that. He was just everybody be trying to make you laugh all the time. Everybody is a comedian, including me. They're always trying to make you laugh. They don't be trying to tell you nothing serious. Joe Williams. I got to play with a lot of the older cats. Who was it? I can't even remember. That's a shame. But anyway, if you read the information, you'll see who they are. I could remember then. Walter Booker, got a chance to tour with him in Japan. Johnny Griffin, had a chance to play with him. In fact, I wrote a tune. He wrote this tune that was based on intervals of 4. So I said, I want to do that too. So I wrote a tune too based on it. Intervals of 4. It's called I'm Going Back Home. It's on my CD entitled Live at Smoke. I'm Going Back Home. 4. It's like a blues. It's not a blues, but it's based on 4. It's not everywhere in the tune, but a lot of the sections based on 4. Now, how am I coping through this pandemic? It's been rough, you know. I'm a single woman. I live alone. I don't get a chance to see my family that much. And I don't have anybody here in the house because, I don't have anybody here at the house. Yeah, CD, Live at Smoke. Hope you get it. I also have another CD, which Ben mentioned earlier, called I Feel Like Some Jazz Today. It's been a while since I recorded that one, but you know, jazz, it never gets old. It always. When I did that, I reminded myself of my son, Tony. But anyway, it's called I Feel Like Some Jazz Today. And check that one out as well if you can. Um, about the pandemic, it's rough. I haven't caught it yet. Although I thought I had it back in 2020 in February. It felt like it, I'm telling you. My chest was squeezing and everything, like feeling I never had before, but it went away. So I haven't caught it yet. And I've had to do shots because I'm traveling and they're not going to let you in their country without it. So whether I want to do it or not, I don't have the, um, um, I can't say I'm not going to take the shot. I have to take the shot if I want to work a little bit, and it's a little bit too with this pandemic. What I want to give to younger people. Thank you, Ben. Classic. Benjamin Body. He's a famous radio person. I think it's Taint Radio, right, Ben? He's on Benjamin Body. Check him out too. And any advice I want to give to young musicians? I don't know if they're taking any, but I'll give it to you. Keep practicing and keep, hanging out and trying to get with people and play. What more can you do but play, play, play? Play as much as you can. I still need to do that. You have to keep doing that just to keep your stuff sounding halfway decent. Yeah. So that's most of everything that on this paper. But I can talk about other stuff. I've been all around the world. Isn't that wonderful? I've been around the world and I didn't even have to pay for it. But I don't get the tour and everything like a regular tourist. When I'm going around the world, I have to work, and it's very rare you get a day off. And when you do get a day off, you want to sleep. You want to stay in the bed and practice so you can be right for the next gig on tour. You don't want to overtire yourself. Now, if I finish with the tour and I have a day or two left over, I might go try to see something. But other than that, the New York City experience, oh yeah, that was really, I don't know, it was exciting and strange and glad and sad. A lot of experiences there. When I moved to New York for a few years, for about 12 years, actually, I moved to New York after I had gotten my son Tony through Morehouse College, and we moved to New York. We moved to New York, and I had a chance to play at quite a few places. The Blue Note, Smoke used to play there a lot. In fact, at Smoke, we had a group there called Mosaic. Jeremy Pelt was basically the leader. And then we had, and I guess I was sort of like the co-leader. I think, at least I want to think that anyway. And Clark Gayton, Carlton Holmes, Andrew Klein, and Lawrence Leathers. That was the first part. That was the first group of Mosaic. It kept changing as we went along, but a few people stayed there, like Jeremy, myself, Clark, and Andrew. But the drummer kept changing the most. I don't know why, but anyway, but it was fun. That was a fun gig. And I used to play at a club at an old dive in Harlem called St. Nick's. Remember that? Anybody ever been to St. Nick's? That was a crazy place, wasn't it? That backyard. Let's move on to something else. What other? Oh yeah, we played the Brownstone in Brooklyn. Sankofa Aban, the Brownstone. She's still going. I hope they're going, of course. Yep, St. Nick's. Oh yeah, and let me mention too some people who have been helping me for years and get through life, get through my career. Is the Richmond Jazz Society. Those people have hired me. Yusef and I started playing with them. uh, in the 80s, I believe, early. And we used to go there, and they were just starting. Everybody was just young and starting out and everything. In fact, they're still going, the Richmond Jazz Society. They have hosted quite a few people, including Miles Davis, so they on the ball. I like them. I think it's been about 2 or 3 years since I've been there, but maybe I hope to go there one more time. That's right, BJ and Payne. BJ and Payne. Bright moment from RGS. There you go. Because I love North Carolina, but I kind of, Virginia is my home too now. So, I got to stick with my Virginia people too. I didn't really spend that much time in New Jersey, maybe 3 years, and that was it. So we visited a lot, but never really lived. I didn't. My brothers and sisters did, but I never really lived in New Jersey when I got older. Only as a young kid. But anyway, the Richmond Jazz Society, they have really supported me for years, and Lord knows I appreciate it. They're good people too. And let me think, who else have we been doing stuff with? Yes, I toured Switzerland with Javon Jackson, uh, Japan with Dr. Lonnie, um, Alvin Queen. I'm trying to remember. Bernard Harper. It was so many. Oh, yeah, and I was also in Japan with Mulgrew Miller and Carl Allen and Mark Whitfield, Tim Warfield, Rodney Whitaker. Oh, my gosh. I have been so lucky in my career. I don't know how it happened. Maybe I do a little bit, but then me and that person fell out over some things. It wasn't my fault. Y'all know I'm a nice person, and I'm easy to get along with. Some people just want to try to rule you too much, and I can't be rude but so much. I'll do what you say, but my gosh. But anyway, thank you. I want to work on bringing me home too, to Richmond. Oh yeah, I used to live in Richmond for a while. That was before I knew the Richmond Jazz Society, though. I don't even think they existed at that time. But at the time, Plunky Branch, at that particular Atlanta forum that I went to back in the 80s with Youssef, and they were talking about bringing jazz into the education system. That was before within the education system. Willie Jenkins was there, Larry Ridley. I mean, I can't remember everything, but we were all talking about bringing jazz into the education system. At the time, I didn't really, I wasn't well educated as far as music. I had gotten a business degree from Hampton University, but I just wanted to sing. So whenever I heard anybody talking about doing anything in jazz, I went just to see what was going on, to see what was happening. Because once I met Yusuf, he really turned me on into the music and how it felt, and the swinging, and the rhythm of it all. He taught me a lot just by playing with him. He didn't really try to tell you what to do. He sort of played, and you sort of, and when you're young like that, kind of follow him and see what he was doing, and listening. So I did a lot of listening. That's what I would tell young people to do. Listen. Do a lot of listening. And who else? Of course, y'all know from Durham, North Carolina, and Raleigh, I played with Chip Crawford for many years. We played together. That was a very nice union, and we did some really good things. We had a residence, or residence, whatever you call it, in Atlantic City. Oh my gosh, that was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. It was 6 nights a week, 4 sets. That's hard on a vocalist. Your voice, 50 minutes sets, but you had to be there 6 hours. You know what I mean? So you did 4 sets within that 6 hours for 6 nights a week. You only get 1 day off. That was a rough one. I said I'll never do that again. But it was good. You know what it did? It I learned a lot of songs, and it really got my voice in shape. Sometimes out of shape, but mostly in shape. Hello, Greg Pasinko. Huh? Talking to Benjamin Barney on my thing. Right, Mary Lou Williams. That's right. I met her. Let me tell you, honey. Mary Lou Williams. I was in Durham, North Carolina, and Elmer Gibson told me to go meet Mary Lou Williams. She was the Duke artist in residence. And I went over there. I was scared to death. And she asked me to, Mary Lou taught me the blues. She asked me to sing the blues, right? So I didn't know anything about the blues. So I started singing something which sounded like the blues to me. Just make your voice sound bluesy, like you're crying or something or whining. She started playing and looked at me. She said, "Girl, that ain't the blues." I was like, "Huh?" And she taught me the blues. So I learned that. And I got to hang around with her a lot. And I would go to her classes sometimes over at Duke. Um, I would also go to her house. She used to like to cook a lot, and she could cook, and I ate. And what else did I like to do with her? And I remember the last night that, well, she got sick, and her sister was in town. I had met her sister before, and her sister said, called me up and said, "Eve, Mary wants you to come to a party tonight." And I went to the party with a bunch of her students and people all around and everything. But Mary was upstairs in the bed. And we were all like, "Well, can Mary make it down?" So they went to tell her, and she was trying to get up and she was trying to make it, but she couldn't make it. She was on the steps, but couldn't make it. So they went and got her. And they brought her to the piano. And she sat up at the piano like she was queen for the day. And she was then. And she was just playing and playing and playing for about, I would say, a few minutes, not long. And then she just slumped over the piano like that, you know. And everybody just like so sad, like, dog, she's tired. So they took her up to her bedroom, and they picked her up and took her back upstairs to her bedroom. And she told somebody to go get Eve. I'm like, "Me?" I'm like, "Well, okay." So I went up there where she was, and she was laying in her bed. And she said, "Eve, I'm so glad you came tonight." I was saying, "What are you talking about? Thank you for inviting me." And she said, "You know what? I just want you to know that I know you're going to make it." And I said, "Thank you, Mary." Now, I don't know what she meant, make it where or how. But she didn't say what or where, how or when. She just says, "You're going to make it." And coming from her, Mary Lou Williams, I appreciated that very much, so much. And I just know she was real nice to me. Nice lady. Oh, yeah, she had a bad home too, and a bad piano up in that home. I wish I could have that house. And let me see, what else can we talk about? Any questions? Anybody? I have made it. Well, at least I can pay my bills. If that's making it, that's making it. So far. I might need a GoFundMe one day, and you all joking, joking, joking. But I'm trying not to talk too long because at 5:30 they're gonna cut me off. Anyway, I just want to say thank y'all so much. I don't know who was there who didn't love you too, Ben. I know it. I know it. I got to perform in Durham again. I really do. I want to. And I love y'all so much for joining me. I appreciate it. My website is www.evecornelius.com. I need to update it. I need somebody who knows how to do a website. What else? Oh, yes. Tomorrow I'm going to Russia, going to play with the Vinskevich family. And that's right, we must play the blues soon. Lucy, that's right. I want a blues band. And I love you. And y'all come to my Facebook page and stuff. And I'll be posting pictures about the coming up gig and stuff, as we do it. We have fun there. Go to Russia, eat me some borscht. Bye-bye. Love you. Take care.